You may perhaps have come across these photos and the story about it. This man, Patrick Osoi, has been making headlines for weeks. He has declared interest in the presidential race 2027 against President William RUTO. His fashion of popularity has drawn attention. Osoi identifies himself as a former KDF officer who later served in the NRS before moving to the United States of America and joining the USA military.
Fact is that even if a police officer is sent today to come and arrest me and to take me, trust me, they would think twice.
Osoi has fashioned himself as this former military man who should be feared for his exposure in the security sector.
As a person who has served at the capacity of a special force in this country, I understand the reasons for formation and structures to engage in any war. For a person who has served in the National Intelligence Service of this country, I understand the dynamics of what is being planned.
Recently, Osoi has been recruiting disciplined forces rebels into his movement, and this is where his predicaments are now knocking the door. On Monday, the 28th July 2025, Osoi, together with police rebel Hiram Kimathi and former prison warder, popularly known as Cop Shakur, formed a movement that was referred to as FBI in full, fighting brutality and injustices. In the announcement of the new outfit, the trio brandished guns, tactical security combat in what seemed to be a wrong message to the government. The trio announcing a serious rebellion against the government.
Officers in uniform, because you're not the enemy. The civilian and the citizen of this country, we have talked to them and we are telling them the police and the uniform people are not your enemy.
What is your end goal? The question Kenyans have been struggling to answer from the movement. Does government view the former security officers as rebels that are a threat to the existence of the government? The answer is yes. The government is now moving to bite the fingers that seem to be pointing to a coup incitement on active security officers. The leader, Patrick Osoi, was picked up by heavily armed DCI officers on Tuesday evening, while Cop Shakur was arrested by the Directorate of Criminal Investigation officers on Wednesday during the day while attending court proceeding at the Tourism Kawa Law Courts.
I have the right to be told my mistake. Nimefanya makosa gani? I'm here in court. I've
1. While their movement is informed by injustices they have received, brandishing of guns and shooting range videos has portrayed them as a people who are after overthrowing the government. William RUTO has been a president under the fear of attempted coup by his political nemesis.
And I'm told that that's an ego that is indigenous.
It cannot be business as usual. It cannot be business as usual. We have to agree that things must change.
This definitely forces a crackdown on now a very infamous FBI movement. 2. The government is aware that such an uprising would radicalize more security officers into joining the movement. In all developing countries such as Kenya, the police and prison officers are among the underpaid group of security personnel, hence the group prone to rebellion if an opportunity arises. Fashioning yourself as a group of people who intend to use force to be in power is a crying call to a government reaction. The Kenyan government has been keen to suppress any uprising since June 25, 2024, wary of the fact and once existence of a political militia group, namely Mombasa Republican Council MRC, that once claimed that the coastal part of Kenya was not Kenya.
Tunayoitafuta, hatutafuti dhulma, hatutafuti kunyonga watu.
Let's be clear here. Osoi and his allies claim they are fighting against state injustice. They speak for neglected soldiers, unpaid officers, wounded patriots, but their optics, gun shows, combat drills suggest far more dangerous a movement that is flirting with insurrection. But here is the paradox. Osoi's ambition to lead the country is swallowed by the way he is choosing to rise. You can't demand democracy in one hand and raise a gun with the other. You can't call for injustice while wrapped in camouflage, preaching defiance to active duty officers. Now, this isn't just a clash of politics. It's a clash of intentions. President William RUTO doesn't view Osoi and his core team as a voice for the voiceless, but rather a Trojan horse for armed rebellion, and more importantly, the concept that his FBI movement could spiral into Kenya's next security crisis.
That kuna a lot of unlawful command, misuse of police or security apparatus in this country.
Patrick Osoi's route to power may be lighting the wrong fires, and in the words of the DCI Director Mohammed Amin, the state reserves monopoly on violence. The state views by targeting former and serving members of disciplined forces, Osoi is not just building a support base, he is potentially infiltrating and weakening national security institutions. These are men trained to handle arms, crowd control, tactical response, skills that when turned against the state undermine the internal security stability and threaten national cohesion.
The car watchman kulinda police station.
The Osoi political movement ambitions are clouded by his militaristic posture. While he speaks of change and revolution, his methods appear more coercive than democratic. The state sees this not just as dissent, but as a preparation for confrontation. In Kenya's fragile political security balance, armed symbolism and radicalized former officers are not just dangerous, they are potentially destabilizing. They are fighting brutality and injustice, now infamous FBI movement posturing, rhetoric and recruitment methods challenge constitutional order and draws a confrontation with state organs. If Osoi doesn't recalibrate from rebellion to reason, he perhaps may find himself not on the ballot in 2027, but behind bars in what could be a state-crafted punishment.